Salam, and thanks for joining the Halal in Travel Global Summit hosted by Crescent Rating. I'm Dr. Barbara Ruiz, Director of the Halal Academy. We're a training and consultancy center for Islamic economic development based in Spain. And I would like to introduce briefly our topic for this panel. The panel is called Preparing Destinations for the Next Phase of the Muslim Travel Market Growth. So we're going to explore what happens after the significant disruption in traveling caused by COVID-19 pandemic. We are very expectant to see how the Muslim travel market enters this new growth phase. We would like to explore how different initiatives are resuming and moving forward, and what are the new innovations and trends coming for halal and Muslim-friendly tourism. Please let me welcome our panelists for today. They're going to offer very interesting insights. Salam and welcome, Dato Dr. Mohmed Razip Haji Hasan.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
He's the Director General of the Islamic Tourism Center in Malaysia. This is one of the agencies under the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture. And the center is an advisory body in matters pertaining to Islamic tourism and hospitality. Welcome. Let me please introduce as well Mr. Tomás Guerrero. Hola, Tomás.
Good morning, Barbara.
Hello.
Buenos días.
He's the director at the Halal Trade and Marketing Center, a global business development center focused on the halal economy opportunities for the industry, based in Dubai. And please let me welcome as well Mr. Kaiji Wada. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. He's the CEO of Career Diversity Incorporated, and he's a global strategist of Food Diversity Incorporated as well. He's a rebel to Islam like myself. And his goal is to make Japan more friendly to Muslims. That's right.
Yes.
So welcome all. Let me please start by giving you a warm welcome. Thank you for joining. And I think this topic is very interesting because after the big break of the COVID-19 pandemic in traveling and tourism, we are all eager to know how this is going to recover and which way is it going to. So please let me ask you first, share your insights. How do you think, or what are the signs of this recovery? How can we perceive the traveling and tourism industry is back on track? Dato, would you begin?
Yes, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to you, and also very good evening and afternoon from Malaysia. Thank you, Dr. Barbara, for the questions. And to begin, I look into this scenario interestingly that we can look into two different signs. One is the physical signs, and the other one is the psychological signs. The physical sign, I think this is what everybody knows now, that travel borders have opened, destination as ease, the entry, and also the requirement for COVID testing slowly has been lifted, and quarantine requirement also been relaxed in many parts of the world. Even in our case, in ITC, destination starts to reach us asking for collaboration, for advice, and also we look into the tourism industry itself. They begin to actively move forward, and in our case, they also come to us asking for input, for direction, and even to the airlines. You can see they start, because this is one of the mostly affected industry, the hotel and also the airlines. So they are coming a big way. And just for information, I just came back from Europe 2 days ago, and I can see the movement just overwhelming. This is the physical signs. the psychological science that I would like to share. Now, people are eager to travel. They just couldn't wait to travel. So psychologically speaking, they just give them any time to move, they will go. They go. I mean, despite the fact that now they're talking about the hike in price of the ticket price, even some of the destinations also experiencing hike in product price, but they just say, I don't care, I want to travel. That's the sign of psychological. And the other one is they are more conscious with the travel protocol. They are health conscious. They are also look for their safety and security. So, Dr. Barbara, this is some of my observation and also ITC observation. We divide into two different signs. One is physical, and the other one is the psychological side. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we observed this in our own country, in Spain. We saw that people were really eager to travel, and also because they had been saving money for 2 years because there was no opportunity, they're actually looking for like more luxurious or more sophisticated holidays. Can we have the input from Tomás? What about Dubai, or what about your observations from Halal Trade Center?
Sure, Barbara. Good morning, everyone. First of all, let me start expressing my deep gratitude to Crescent Rating for inviting us to be here today. It's a pleasure, it's an honor to share our experience in the halal tourism sector. Coming back to your question, first of all, I would like to say that it's clear we are now in a post-COVID scenario. Restrictions are not longer there in many cases. People is eager to start to travel again. Vaccines are working, and that's great to know. We have, as Dato said, many protocols in place, also working well, avoiding future problems with this disease or other upcoming ones. So I think now we are ready to come back. A few days ago, as you know, we had here ATM, the travel exhibition, and we could see how the countries as well as the tourism companies are coming back to business. We had a successful event, and we also perceived that the people want to travel again, and they had time. They had more than 1 year to think about the next trip. So that's another reason, no? Before we were sometimes planning our trips in 1, 2, 3 days, or only 1 month, before the travel day, the flight day. Now we had more than 1 year to think about our next destination. So yeah, now I saw the numbers for our home country in Spain as well as for other great destinations worldwide. The hotels are fully booked for summer holidays. So that's great to know, especially for those countries where tourism is so critical for their economies. For example, Spain is around 25% of our GDP. So the tourism industry is so important for Spain, for all the many countries, Muslim and non-Muslim ones. So it's great to know that we are back on business. And as I said, we saw that a few days ago here in Dubai in the ATM, and we are extremely happy to see this trend.
It's good news for everyone then. Mr. Kaiji, what about Japan? Because you make a big effort to attract your Muslim neighbors into Japan.
Yes. Assalamualaikum. My name is Kaiji. I will explain the Japan situation. Actually, Japan doesn't accept any tourists as of now from overseas. Though many countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, or UAE already started to welcome the foreign tourists. So I cannot, perceive the evident signs yet. But as myself, my company, Food Diversity, has the media, Halal Media Japan, which has a connection with MFT business people. So, I have been talking to the business people in the MFT industry. After 2 years of this pandemic, most of Muslim destination was faded away since domestic Muslim population in Japan is really limited. Or sometimes they already stopped Muslim friendly operation because of shrinking the market. We have no customers. People cannot know, cannot have the income from the tourism. So as per our calculation, more than 50% of Japanese restaurants stopped halal menu or Muslim friendly operation due to this pandemic. The restaurant food could survive was the restaurant that is popular among non-Muslim Japanese customers. So their marketing and promotion are really inclusive and strategic. If the non-Muslim Japanese hear the word halal, people would think halal food is only for Muslim, not for Japanese or non-Muslim. So those restaurant doesn't have obviously use the word halal. Instead, they promote to Muslim only on the Muslim media, not in the public. So Japanese people doesn't know the restaurant, that this restaurant is Muslim friendly or not. So this solution or strategy will be the new phase of the MFT development in Japan. Thank you.
Inshallah. That's
Mm.
interesting because actually halal is for all.
Yes, that's right.
And it's a good thing that you take the opportunity to encourage other people to try. Why not? I mean, these invisible barriers sometimes people have thinking, oh, halal is something Islamic, I don't want to know. It's a very good strategy actually to open the doors, to let other people to know, halal is nice food. You're welcome to try it. Well, I'm very sure you will resume travelers soon. You will be welcoming travelers in your country very soon, I hope.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you. So in terms of traveling disruption, we have seen that most of the world is opening the doors and welcoming guests, and guests are eager to travel. And how are technological developments associated to this disruption in traveling? Do you see how the business has changed, the Muslim-friendly tourism industry has changed in terms of technology, or it hasn't been so big? What do you think?
If I may, Dr. Barbara, the trend is actually very obvious during the pandemic and also during the endemic. Now we have as moved from pandemic to endemic, but the technology actually play very big role in sustaining the brand and also to promoting the brand itself, because there was no other way then, because we cannot do things physically, so we really depend on the technology. So if before people are so scared to go 100% for technology, but they have no choice. We have no choice now. This is good thing that we learned from the pandemic. And in the case of Malaysia, we work very closely with our own tourism board, Tourism Malaysia, where Tourism Malaysia has also double up the promotion and also how to engage with the stakeholders using technology. And this is a pull and push factor, while we are inviting our stakeholders to come forward using the technology, but we also ourselves will encourage the stakeholders to do so. So to us, this is good move, and you can reach more than before. Even that's what we do today, when we have our own online session. It was impossible to do in the past. But now, just mentioned, we do things online. We are more than happy to do so. So this is some of the examples that we observe are taking place in the market. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we are kind of incorporating all these changes naturally. And I think the industry, the tourism industry has meant a big customer for technological firms because,
Yes.
there's been a huge demand to adapt the sector. Yeah, and there's also another topic that is interesting, and is the demand for a more sustainable model. This is my next topic. I would like to engage you in discussing how to create a more sustainable model for tourism to avoid, for example, mass tourism or to avoid seasonal peaks. These peaks in tourism are associated with low-paying jobs, seasonal jobs, not stable. And we need to kind of transform this sustainability factor in something that is positive for everybody, not only the travelers, but also the workers in the industry and the communities receiving the travelers. So if you could share your insights in this, maybe Tomás would like to comment.
Well, but first of all, let me give you also some ideas about your past question
Oh, sure,
regarding
sorry.
technology and tourism, because now technology
Definitely.
is everywhere. No? Now, for example, I'm thinking about basic things. No, when you travel, you are visiting restaurants. Now the QR code is always there. The paper menus are not longer there. So, or for example, now here in Dubai, when you reach the airport, you don't need to scan your passport. There is a camera and there is, a system of facial recognition. So they are checking your face and, doing the process, in a totally different way. Also, for example, I saw now during the ATM some travel destinations using metaverse to promote their services, their the offering is also there. No, some countries they are going ahead with these types of disruptive initiatives. They are ahead of the game, and they are, for example, using metaverse, or they are accepting cryptos or Bitcoin for booking hotels or for paying some services. So it's amazing, no, how technology is changing everything. And obviously, after COVID, it's clear, no, that many things will be totally different. No, imagine reaching Dubai a few weeks ago, and people say, "No, you don't need the passport. Check the camera, say hi to the camera," and the camera was checking on me and saying, "Hi, Tomás, welcome back to Dubai." So it was like, wow, no? So this is something totally new. Or during the ATM, visiting the booth of some countries, and they have spaces, at the metaverse, and they are there promoting services, accepting new ways of payments. That's amazing, no? So I think, technology is changing everything, and it's good for tourism. But also thinking about maybe a bad consequence of using technology too much is, for example, before we were traveling a lot for business. And now, as Dato said, we can use these types of platforms. So I think for leisure, for holidays, the basic ones, we will be traveling. But maybe for business, we will be reducing the number of flights or trips, no? Because technology is helping us to have these types of conference or interactions. We can also sign documents through apps. So maybe from that point of view, it's not a good, thing, but it's amazing also to see how technology is, boosting the sector.
Yeah, it's here to stay. Technology is, of course, we are changing the way we work. It's a pity because we lose the networking and the face-to-face,
Yeah.
engaging with other people, which was always the bonus. But it is true we should be more discriminating in the sense that many meetings can happen online, and
Yeah.
especially when you don't need to network or make new alliances or work face to face. And it saves a lot of time, and of course, it's more friendly to the planet. So, well, it's a negative side, but it's also a positive side. The world has to continue changing, I suppose. But it's amazing all these new innovations in Dubai. They're probably going to be a model to follow for other countries, for sure. Yes. Mr. Kaiji, would you
Yeah.
like to comment or shall we move to sustainability?
Yes, let me add some, some comments.
Please.
Actually, the technology will be a must, in Japan as well, and very important as other two panelists pointed out. So let me talk, from different perspective.
Okay.
In my point of view, the Japanese tourism sector, Japan is a kind of unique country, so they will, pay attention to the hybrid of technology and the nature. Of course, technology is, important, but they will be more focusing on the nature as well. In Japan, from Hokkaido to Okinawa, we have a rich nature, such as river, beach, mountain, lakes, countryside landscape. So these contents are really, very strong in Japan and attractive for the tourists, including Muslim. So in the nature activities such as the cycling, hiking, adventure, consuming the local vegetables are really green friendly and sustainable. So Japanese people, Japanese tourism sector will be sensitive to the eco or sustainability. So of course, the technology is very important, as other two already pointed out. Or we can come back to the nature and sustainability. This will be the new trend in Japan for the tourism, inshallah.
Yeah. But I think they are connected, aren't they? I mean, technology is going to help us to keep places, to preserve nature and the environment in a way that we were not worried before about this, but now obviously we are more worried about sustainability of destinations. We don't want to spoil our own countries. We want to manage tourism in a way that it doesn't hurt our communities, it doesn't hurt our environment. So I think technology will definitely play a role, but also we need to educate people. I believe there's also the human factor. So we need to devise new strategies for developing this new model. So have you come across any new interesting initiatives to promote a more sustainable tourism that participates in local circular economy or benefits the local community? Dato, maybe you could give us some insights if you have been considering this question in Malaysia to imagine new forms of engaging people in a different way in tourism.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Barbara. In the case of Malaysia, even it is well reflected in our national tourism policy, well ahead before the pandemic. So when the pandemic comes, it re-strengthened the statement because this is, I would say, tall order because in coming years, if we fail to observe the need to protect the nature, protect the environment, it will be some negative impact will happen. We have enough of the pandemic, and we do not want to see the destruction to the existing environment. That's what Mr. Kaiji did mention just now. We need to balance the usage of technology and also the need to protect the environment. And we have to do things very sustainable way, because we are not only talking about the physical environment, but more importantly now people look into how we think, because the thinking process must be well developed, because if we fail to educate on the need to preserve, to conserve, and also to protect the environment, and it will give us different kind of atmosphere. And it is now we in Malaysia, because in Malaysia we have 2/3 of the country still green, and this is also good, not only good for the local, but also for the rest of the world. And because we have also the presence of big biodiversity in the island of Borneo, and so this need to be looked very seriously. And we do believe that apart from doing our practical guidelines, SOP, the laws and regulation, but more importantly, it's the education. And when the education should not only limit to the urban areas, but you need to go to the rural, look after the rivers, and how the waste management, disposal, everything. So in a way, tourism play very big and key roles in ensuring that that everybody come together. And because at the end of the day, when we travel, whether we are business travelers or we are leisure travelers or special interest travelers, at the end of the day, we need to see the environment around us. So this is how we see things in Malaysia, and we also work very closely with our ASEAN neighbors, and also the Asia Pacific. So this is some of the observation, Doctor, that we are taking very seriously in ensuring the better environment for tourism in coming years.
Thank you. Yeah, we should take care of the environment, and also the locals, the local people. They also would like a different kind of tourism. I don't know, Tomás, if you had the chance of exploring any initiatives in this sense in the recent fair in Dubai.
Well, first of all, let me tell you that it's funny to see how before COVID, I remember summer 2019, we were discussing about the problems coming from mass tourists. No? So the negative consequence of having in many countries, no, the mass tourism in some months of the year, and now we are wishing, no, to have the tourism back again. But I think COVID will make us travel in a different way, and we will be having into account new factors when we decide, or we will be deciding the destination. So obviously sustainability will be there. Obviously health atmosphere or conditions will be there. The importance of the ecosystem or the environment and the policy, regarding those areas will be there, because before basically we were not thinking in many cases about those topics or matters before traveling. Honestly, I think we were thinking about other factors or other ideas. But now, because of this experience, bad one with COVID, we will be traveling in a different way. So I fully agree with your comments, with your points, because those matters will be more important. Before they were starting to be on the agenda, But now it's clear, no, that all those matters are so relevant for people traveling. So I think because now, obviously, Dato said at the beginning of the panel something important about psychology. Now
Yeah,
we don't want to go to crowded places. We
that's
want to
right.
avoid that. So that's great to avoid the mass tourism, where basically we were going to the same place at the same time and creating many problems for the environment, for the local communities. I remember the discussions or the debates in Spain with the demonstrations in some tourist areas, people, local ones saying we can't accept this type of tourism. But now COVID, I think, will be making us, changing the way of traveling or the think about how we travel, and we will be avoiding because obviously for this generation, COVID will be there in our minds. So
That's right.
when you see a crowded place or a destination with no measures or protocols to avoid future problems like COVID or similar ones, maybe we will be thinking about going to another place. So maybe exclusivity will be also relevant or important to have your own space. No, you want to interact with the local community, with the people there, but I think we want also to have our own space. No, I saw now, for example, in China, no, before COVID, people traveling looking for fresh air. No, and it was something important for them because the pollution there was a big problem. No, and now we have something similar in mind. No, not with the pollution, with COVID or with diseases or with the healthy, environment or the the natural ecosystem there. So yeah, fully agree with
That's right.
you. We will be taking that into account before traveling.
Yeah, that changes. I hope that changes the model because, as you said, for Spain particularly, is a problem because some destinations are so crowded, and the locals, they don't get any rest, they don't get any quality of life. So I'll be connecting this one with the next issue, which is getting to know the locals. We have been reading in many reports in the last few years that when Muslims travel, we like to meet other Muslims in other countries and get to know about their lives, get to connect, because traveling is, of course, to exchange ideas. So I would like to ask Mr. Kaiji, in his experience, if you have been traveling, I don't know, in the last 2 years, if you had the chance, but in your experience, this issue of meeting other people, is it important? And the traveling industry, what can they do? What kind of activities or things can they suggest or implement to help travelers meet each other or meet the locals? Not so
Yes,
easy.
yes, actually, it's a quite really interesting topic. But as you may know, in Japan, it's really difficult to meet the local Muslims. Maybe for Japanese Muslim, maybe less than maybe 10,000 people. Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's
maybe
a small
including,
community.
yeah, it's very small community. But if you go to the masjid in Tokyo, they will often conduct the mosque tour to spread the understanding of Islam to Japanese people. So some brothers and sisters are working hard on the project. So maybe if you are maybe the Muslim traveler comes to Japan, come to Tokyo or other cities, you can visit the mosque and you can help Japanese to understand more the collect information to Japanese people. So it's quite really interesting for us Muslim because we like to know to we like to spread the our idea of Islam. It's a kind of dawah, we can say dawah, but you can enjoy in the different country as well. So sometimes I often go to the Malaysia or Indonesia too. When I visit the masjid, I often communicate with the local Muslims. So they can be motivated, they can be inspired. Yeah, so that's a good interaction with the local Muslim.
So are they welcoming? I mean, the local Muslim communities, are they welcoming other Muslims when they travel, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And for example, if I go to a country where there is no Muslim community, how can I engage with the locals? Do you think there are any particular activities that would help?
Dr. Barbara, if I could
Please go ahead.
To follow up to Mr. Kaiji observation, in Malaysia, one of the methods we use to engage with the local is through mosque tourism. And because in Malaysia we have more than 6,000 mosques throughout the country, and some of the more than 80 mosques has been also categorized as the suitable to be visited by tourists, by the locals and also overseas, because they carry different architecture, they have different history, and also different setting around the mosque. And I agree with Mr. Kaiji, and also even when we go to Dubai, to many countries in Europe, particularly non-Muslim country, the point of reference or the point to meet people is always at the mosque.
Okay.
So this is one way of to engage with the local. And in the case of Malaysia, in the recent Ramadan, when coincidentally when we open our borders, we have our Malaysia Iftar at Kuala Lumpur, where we invite our local as well as tourists. And this is also another venues for how to meet the people, where they can enjoy the food and the lifestyle, the customs, and then how to interact and to know each other better. And at the same time, we have, apart from the iftar, the breaking of fast, we also have this Bazaar Ramadan. I think
yeah, very famous.
It's a big thing in Dubai.
Huge thing.
It's very huge.
Yeah.
And so this is happening, and we see that the Muslim-friendly tourism has gained the recognition from many tourists, and also has gained the recognition of many tourism board. So through this engagement, so they will know better, and they will engage better, and probably they will understand Islam better, because and then they also will understand halal food better. So meaning, as you said earlier, Dr. Barbara, halal is for everyone.
For all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tomás, would you like to make some comments on this? Because we are running out of time. We have a few minutes.
I know we are close to reach the end of the session, but I would like to add some comments. I have a different approach. I think, especially thinking about Muslim communities in non-Muslim majority countries. I know many Muslim travelers, they want to visit them, they want to pass by, they want to share, they want to engage. But sometimes I thought we are losing the opportunity for empowering those local communities. And sometimes I think the Muslims there, the local community, they are as a part of a product. No, they are in a zoo. The people going there to see them, and I think we need to change that. We need to empower them. We need to use them as an asset to create products and allow them to guide, for example, the Muslim tourists coming from abroad, to empower them to add value, because sometimes the products behind is visiting their homes or their neighborhoods or the mosque, and they are there like a part of a soul. And I think this is a wrong approach. We need to use the local community or use this opportunity, this specific one, to allow them to open new business or be part of the product, trying to maybe, because they are living there. So maybe they are the best ones to show to guide the tourists coming to visit them across the city, or they have food or this or that, the gastronomy. They are maybe the best ones to guide them, or to offer this or that, or to show them the best part of the cities, or
the true
this or that
insights.
experience. But I had conversations sometimes with Muslims in non-Muslim majority countries having these visits, and sometimes people is they are not planning, they are going there to visit them, and they are not expecting someone to come. So it's like sometimes the privacy is not there. We need to create something different around this, because the opportunity obviously is there, is good. Both parts want to engage, but I think we need to make this a big opportunity, especially for the local community, because they can, get benefits. They can, improve in many areas. So why not?
Yeah, we've been thinking about this lately. Last week, we visited the Islamic festival in Mertola in Portugal. It's a small Andalusian city. And this festival was created especially for this purpose. So, to present, to introduce Islamic culture to visitors. But of course, we need to work on this idea. The festival has been going on for 20 years, so we can say it's successful. But now it's of course, they think that now they would like to revamp it, to introduce new activities. For example, workshops looking into some expression of Islamic culture, for example, art or literature and so on, cooking. There were cooking shows, there were many activities. And I think it was a good experience. So I think we should work on being proactive in facilitating this meeting point with the excuse of some kind of activity that is open and popular for travelers and locals as well. Well, thank you. I think we have 1 minute left, so I'm going to wrap up. So to wrap it up, I would say that we all agree that traveling is resuming and Muslim-friendly tourism is again back on track, slowly but surely. And I hope in Japan very soon you open your borders.
Yes.
And you start work. I'm sure Malaysians are dying to go there again. Your neighbors. Sure. So yeah, we have seen a shift in mind in the terms of how do we want to experience tourism again after this break. And of course, we have these concerns about safety and crowded places. And I think we should reap on the opportunities here and move towards a more sustainable model with the new opportunities and also new ideas. And of course, technology is going to play a huge role. Some companies and some, developments are going to happen around Muslim-friendly tourism. So we'll be on the outlook to check how these changes come to reality. And I hope to see you soon, face-to-face, in some event. I know there are some big events coming this year. Thank you all for being here today on the panel. And thank you also for you watching and joining this session. And please check out the other interesting sessions as well. Ma'asalama. I hope to see you soon and continue discussing these developments in the World Halal tourism industry. Thank you so much.